This morning's reading is coming from an anthology called Who's Your Mama? The Unsung Voices of Women and Mothers. And this is an essay that was written by a woman who is also, she's a writer and a mother, and was struggling with some of the very same issues that I and many other writers who have children struggle with, which is how do you manage to be both a writer and a mother? They seem to be sometimes mutually exclusive. You know, you need quiet, you need a room of your own, and children don't respect those things, that you need quiet and a room of your own. So this is an essay she wrote about that struggle for herself, how she resented her children until she found a way to make peace. She writes, and sorry, this is Martha Southgate, who's a wonderful author. She says, "My children have given me great gifts, even as they constrain me. Labor was a gift with both of them. 18 hours into a 13-hour-long labor with my son Nate, I realized there was nothing I could do. It wouldn't be done until it was done. I couldn't type it into a Palm Pilot. We know this was a little dated, to be rescheduled at my convenience. I just had to ride the wave until it was finished, a highly useful lesson to a novelist to learn. From my son Nate, I have learned the virtue of attentiveness. On the subway or the bus, during any emotional encounter, he is all eyes and ears, silent and watchful, like a deer by a creek. It is all internal. He does not always share his thoughts, but he misses nothing. All of life fascinates him. From Ruby, my daughter, I learned language anew. Once, when I commented on something her assistant teacher did, she misheard me and responded indignantly, "Jackie's not the singing teacher, she's the washing teacher, the one who helps with hand washing and lunch and nap, these fine arts." One day, when I chased her around the playground, she scooted up the jungle gym, laughing and shouting to me, "Climb into the poetry." Who knows what she thought she was saying, but she offered me some words to live by. Truth to tell, hard though it is, there's a certain usefulness to being forced to stop thinking of oneself all the time, to have to stop living in one's head. There is a certain usefulness in having to take care of someone else, to love and be loved so thoroughly, to learn how to hang on to oneself and one's work in the face of constant pressure not to. When I think of leaving, I think of the doorknob cool inside my hand, the comforting swing of the door towards me. I never think of the moments, days, years after the devastation I would feel, the ache of not being able to feel those hard little heads under my hands. I suppose that's why my leaving remains a fantasy. It never goes beyond imagining, and I suppose that's how I know I have become a mother for good.